Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and you really couldn't make what I'm about to tell you up. After weeks now of the Sandy Peggy Dr. Beth Upton case being in the public domain, the press are there, they're reporting on it. It's been shown that the NHS Fife have actually broken the law. They know they now cannot win the case, but they're still pushing on with it anyway because, hey, why not? It's only public money. And even if they do win the tribunal, they'll immediately be prosecuted for breaching the law under two different laws. So they know that they're in trouble. And so what have they done? Well, they've applied to the judge who's hearing the tribunal over whether Sandy Peggy's been discriminated against for not wanting to expose herself or to be exposed to by a man. And they've said they want them to be behind closed doors. They want an in-camera hearing. So all future delegations, depositions, evidence, etc., will be kept absolutely secret. And then hidden from the public view. They want the press come out. They don't want it to be live tweeted. They want everything to be hidden because they're deeply, deeply scared. And it's so typical of anything run by the SNP in this country, isn't it? It's got to be kept secret. The truth is so embarrassing. And that's what the problem is. So now they've been blasted by all sides after lodging this legal bid to block the public from knowing what the hell is going on. They don't want the public to see the conclusion of the case. Now it's going to come back in July. It's been closed down to allow for other hearings and things to happen. And it's been running since February, so it's not as though it's new. It's over halfway done. They're just going to come back for the conclusion in July. But the reason for the delay is that the health board are refusing to hand over to the court key documents. Now the Sandy Peggy's lawyers are saying these documents are crucial. There is no reason why NHS Fife should refuse to hand them over. They're trying to lodge a thing saying, oh, well, if we hand them over, it will be prejudicial to their case. What, you mean the truth will come out and that it could open them up to other legal avenues? Well, tough. If you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. I do hope that the judge in this tribunal says, no, you've got to hand them over. But they are desperately trying to avoid this. They're desperate. They don't want the truth to come out because it's so awful for them. Anyway, now they want to ban the public from watching the stream of the case and also stop tribunal tweets from live tweeting, as it has already been doing so up till now, because it claims that there have been inaccuracies in the coverage. And yet, when asked to point to any of these inaccuracies, they could not. Sounds like they're making things up because they don't want the truth to come out. Now, Judge Kemp will decide on this behind closed doors summit at the end of this week. And the case involves the veteran nurse who basically was told by the hospital that if you don't like changing in front of a man, then find somewhere else to change. However, the 1992 Workplace Act means that men and women must have separate changing rooms. And that's the provision, but they're not providing it. So they already know they are well and truly screwed. It'll be interesting to see. Now, NHS Fife are claiming that the tribunal has been marred by technical issues and interruptions. Oh, we don't want people watching online. We don't want this. It's very embarrassing for all those concerned, blah, blah, blah. You weren't so worried about the embarrassment of nurses having to change in front of a biological man, though, Seems very odd now that you're embarrassed. They've already had one attempt at putting this behind closed doors and in camera rejected. I think the judge is minded to reject it again, simply because so much of it hasn't yet. So much of it has been in the public domain. It seems unlikely it's going to be granted. But we shall have to wait and see. Now, their claim is that it's not fair on Dr. Beth Upton, to be exposed like this. I think that's ironic. It's Dr. Beth Upton being busy exposing himself to women and expecting them to like it. But, there's a lot of people going on. Anyway, Tory Shadow Equalities Minister Tess White, she has expressed an opinion. She was criticising the whole thing, to be honest, but she's been criticising this attempt to make the case private and in camera. She says, no, it must be out in the full light of public, in the public arena. And she said that the whole thing, she said, this reeks, she said, of an attempt at secrecy and cover-up from NHS Fife. Go figure. She said there is understandably huge public interest in this case, yet this health board are trying to find an excuse from keeping it out of view from the public. Yes, not surprising though, is it? Because they are so far in the wrong. And they realise that they've been fighting this case, thinking, we'll fight this, look at us, look, we're woke, we're doing this, it's great, everyone will love us for it. And then realise that, oh my God, the whole world's against us. Anyway, tribunal tweets, and the three feminist groups have written to His Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Service, asking for improvements to be made to the live streaming service to stop disruptions. Murray Blackburn Mackenzie, Sex Matters, and For Women Scotland have joined forces to do so. All of these are very strong advocates for women's safety and women's rights, of which I completely agree. Not because I'm a woman, of course, but because, things like my mother, my sisters, my wife, my nieces, my female friends, etc. I don't want them exposed to weird mentally ill men exposing themselves in supposedly safe spaces for women. So quite right. Anyway, Lisa Mackenzie of Murray Blackburn Mackenzie said, this is an important case that has generated considerable public interest. Seeking to restrict access to this live stream when there are very few seats in the public gallery is a deeply cynical move by NHS Fife, and one that we hope will be resisted by the Employment Tribunal judge. It should be pressing for the technical issues to be resolved instead of seeking to put in place further barriers to open justice. And of course, open justice is important because justice must not just be done, but must be seen to be done. You start closing the doors, going secretive, hiding evidence, then you know that the people there are very, very dodgy. Thanks very much. Keep an eye on this case. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.